Bonjour, Tanse, Wadzie, Han, and Laminate. Welcome. This video series for teachers is presented by the Speech Language team at the Manitoba First Nations Education Resource Center. In this video, we will show you how to make visual schedules and how they can be used to help students perform more independently in the classroom. My name is Crystal Kowalchuk, and I am one of the speech language pathologists at MFN ERC. The presentations on videos have occurred in the past, so I'd like to acknowledge speech language pathologist Kelly Ring-Wicklow for her contribution to these slides. In this presentation, I will review what visual schedules are, the steps for you to make a visual schedule during the presentation. I will demonstrate and model how to use a variety of vocabulary levels and the directions to match all the students in your classroom. I will provide tips to introduce the visual schedules, and then there'll be a role play activity. You will need the following supplies for this workshop: pencil, loose leaf, markers, tape, dice and game pieces, and the handouts. Supplies for making the visual schedule. As a review, visual schedules are a tool. They provide information to students. They can be geared for whole class, small group, and individual student work. Schedules tell a student where they should be and when they should be there. They can also be a plan for a given activity. Schedules are designed to match the individual students' language, skills, needs, and interests. They may vary in length and form. Visual schedules communicate the sequence of upcoming activities or events through the use of objects, photographs, icons, words, and a combination of tangible supports. Now we're going to make a visual schedule for individual small group activities. I gave examples for centers or high school science. Students can group the transportation by land, water, and air, the different vehicles. Older students can categorize and discuss motorized versus non-motorized vehicles, and how to use kits and other pictures to make visual supports for your student. Please listen and follow the directions to make the visual schedule. You'll need a velcro folder, picture symbol cards. First, open the folder, then attach two pieces of velcro beside each other, leaving enough room to put pictures in each column and on the bottom row. Next, move the picture symbol cards in the correct order on the velcro. Now that you've made the visual schedule, you can use it with your students. Now I will give you the steps for making the visual schedule, and I will provide them visually, orally, with the steps broken down into smaller pieces. And I hope that works better for you. Okay, so now that you've seen the final product of what the visual looks like, let's make sure you have everything you need to make the visual schedule. Each table will have one pair of scissors and one glue stick to share. If you're doing it individually, you'll have your own. Now raise your folder in the air so that I can see everyone has it. Now show me your folder, velcro, glue stick, scissors, today I will chart, and page of pictures. In the past, speech language assistants have informed me that it is important for you to have your folder temporarily glue the today I will chart into the folder and make any of the labels, have that all finished, and then laminate the folder. And then laminate separately, of course, your page of pictures so that they last longer. Then you can add the velcro strips, and that will make your visual schedule much more stable. You can dry erase check marks for each item the student completes, and then you can wipe it clean and reuse it for a lot more times. Now you can open your folder like a book. Second, glue today I will list on the right hand side. Right now your left side is blank. Print the two titles at the top of the left hand side of the page. Type of game, play game, and the third one is your choices near the bottom of the page. First, I would like you to cut 3 pieces of velcro. If you want to know exactly how long to make it, you can put each one under. You have your 2 vertical columns, so you can measure how much room you have between the top titles and the bottom title of choices, and then a longer strip for the bottom for your choices. So you're sticking 2 pieces vertically up and down, so these 2 are parallel to each other. And the choice velcro strip is horizontally, right to left, side to side. And if you notice, I have incorporated the different levels of vocabulary and basic concepts to help the students of all developmental levels to understand what the topics are. So when you're cutting out the pictures, we recommend that you laminate them before gluing them onto the velcro pieces. I use glue stick to temporarily stick pictures onto paper covering velcro. Then I will remove the laminate picture and cut velcro pieces onto the picture. So this is the final product of the visual schedule. A summary of the steps: we opened the folder, we glued in the Today I Will chart, we wrote in the type of game, 2 play titles at the top, and groups at the bottom, close to the bottom of your page. We left enough room for velcro strips to be placed for each column, pasted them in, cut and pasted them in, and then We left enough room for there to be pictures. Then we cut the pictures and pasted them in order on the velcro strip. And as it was recommended to me, it is useful to laminate the folder with the Today I Will and the titles of the columns to make the visual schedule more sturdy, and then cut out and laminate all of these pictures before pasting them onto the velcro strips. As a review, behavior is communication. Behavior is trying to tell us something important. Children who are nonverbal will often use behaviors to communicate, such as pointing, looking towards an object they want, taking your hand and leading you to the object, grabbing, screeching, yelling. Children who are verbal may also use behavior to communicate because they may assume we know what they are talking about or thinking and have a difficult time explaining it to us. There are different types of visual schedules. You have the whole class schedule that shows, say, your classes for the day and your daily routine. Your school schedule, which would be school start times, end times, lunch, recess, transition times between classes. You have making activity choices, which we included in this activity. Behavior expectations, good listening, give me 5, social stories, a task breakdown. In some ways we incorporated that into the activity choices because we have your turn and my turn included, and the steps of the session: review, practice, game, cleanup, end of session. So it shows you a plan. I incorporated descriptions of first and then. So first we will do a review. Second, we are going to practice the skills. Then we'll play a game. Again, this is flexible so that you can incorporate the practice into playing the game. And sometimes you don't get through the entire plan for the session, so you could maybe start with the game and have, because it was promised. And this builds trust and relationships with your students. So I wanted to draw your attention to what students needed to know to do this activity. In vocabulary, you have your nouns such as pencil, page, card, box, check mark. Verbs: practice, review, spin. I want you to be aware of draw. It's a multiple meaning word. In this case, you are not drawing a circle, but you are drawing or picking up a card from the deck. It is important to be mindful of multiple meaning words because it could create havoc in the mind of a student who is not aware of what the multiple meanings are for that word. For example, a student with autism has a pencil in their hand and they hear the word draw and they might get stuck on it because they like to draw, and that's not what you mean. So you have basic concepts The primary ones are bottom, top, over, other side, first, second, then. You also have more complex basic concepts, vertically, horizontally, parallel. Tier 2 words are function words that really are important for learning in school. Going to, follow along, need, draw, turn, point, start, finish. There's also social skills, turn taking, sharing, waiting, requesting, joint attention will be needed when completing this activity. Other skills are listening, memory, attention, sequencing, following directions, sentence comprehension, how long and short your directions are. I broke them down into smaller parts when possible. Not to mention the fine motor skills that takes up a lot of energy for a student during any activity. And this doesn't even include the review and practice section that has its own instructions, vocabulary, follows a template of how you do the review, and any other skills like articulation for correctly producing this sound. This is when sometimes adding the game to the review and practice may be helpful in keeping the student interested and engaged. Strategies that are useful to help the student follow the activity and participate. You get their attention, you describe what you're going to do with them that day. You break down the activity into smaller steps. Use visuals. Explain and model how to do the task. Check comprehension and summarize the directions. Now we're going to introduce the schedule for the first time to your students. I recommend that you remove all pictures. You show them the folder, open it up, and show only Today I Will chart. Explain the chart and the purpose. Have items for each section on the chart in piles, sometimes out of reach of the students, and keep on opposite side of the table, for example, from the student, or in little boxes or baggies. So you only have to take one pile at a time as they're being used. So first you will have just the Today I Will chart open. After you've explained what will happen during the day or during the session, then you introduce the social skills, your turn, my turn, and cleaning up after each activity. You can tell the student, okay, for review, we're reviewing the grouping of transportation by land, water, air, and then we're going to practice it by having you sort the objects, and then you're going to name them, and then I'm going to ask you to name the different items per group. See how much you can remember in each group. And then once we're finished the review and practice, we'll clean up all of these objects, put them away, and then it'll be time to play a game. In the presentation about visual schedules, a tip for introducing the visual schedule to a student was to show them how to use it when you're standing behind the child so that the visual schedule is in full view of the student. It's important that at all times the visual schedule is visible to the student. As the student gets more aware of how to use it, then you can maybe sit beside them and have it between them. But you want to use as minimal prompts as possible. So when the student notices for the first time the different activities, rolling the dice, card pickup, etc., they may pick one and you just follow the child's lead. So, okay, so you want to have a roll the dice game. Okay, so we're going to have that after we do the review and practice. So following your child's lead and interest and gradually getting them to choose different games to increase their flexibility of thinking rather than perseverating on one game only. It is a natural way of talking with students, and when you are doing this activity, it becomes more natural. You can even ask your speech language pathologist and the assistant what speech sounds or language structures the student is working on, and you can incorporate that practice into the activities and model how to produce them properly. It's important that you say, okay, it's cleanup time, we're all finished, let's gather up the cards and put them in the pile and putting them in the box. Okay, you may already be saying your student is doing that by themselves, but we would like you to talk about what is happening as you do it. You can encourage the child to talk about what they're doing as they're doing it, because you are modeling correct sentence structure, vocabulary, sequencing, using the first, second, or first and then basic concepts. And when it's all done, you want to point to the final activity and say on the activity page and say, it's all done, finished. You close the folder, it's done. So now you have completed the review and practice activities and cleaned up and put away all the cards. Now it's time to take out the Let's Play cards. Show the pictures to the students. Put the Let's Play card at the top of the first column. Then it's time to pick up a game. Show picture place second. Put the picture choices on the bottom row and name them. Say out loud each type of game and student points to them to ensure they know what the picture means. Student picks and says game, puts picture on the first column. So you are taking out the Let's Play cards. You're still introducing the visual schedule. You put the Let's Play card at the top of the first row. Pick a game second, and then the options for the game. The number of cards depends on the level of your student. And then once they're all out and pasted onto the velcro, you name the picture and the student points to the appropriate picture. Let's play. First, we're going to pick the game and spin, draw, roll dice. Then the student can pick which game they want, and then they can put it here third. So first they pick a game, then they are going to play that game. When you play the game, remind the students to point to and say to the pictures, your turn, my turn, and review the turn-taking pictures. Cue students how long they have to play the game and point to the clock in the room. So you may have a time timer. This is a very good visual for students. You want to point to where the big hand is going to be to show when playtime is finished. So when the big hand points to the 11, it'll be time to clean up and return to class. When the timer goes off, you are finished the game, everything is cleaned up. Point to the finished picture, celebrate by reviewing everything the student did that day. Close the folder and praise the student for their listening and hard work. You can swap the games and activities with the same I will list. So it's not set in stone which activities you are doing and which games you are playing. And feel free to make use of the pictures in the handouts that we provided. And there are many, many, many pictures of games and ideas on the internet for free. As students get used to the routine and pointing to the pictures more independently, decrease the adult prompts as soon as possible. You can eventually keep all the game and choice pictures on the board. As they become more familiar, they won't be as overwhelming to the student. Encourage a variety of games, not just the same game. And students with speech can eventually say the pictures out loud, what they're going to do, and when they review it, they can say, today I reviewed transportation. We grouped the land, water, and air vehicles together in their own words. You can ask them questions. What order did you do things in? Today, there might have been an exception. They said we played a game because we didn't play it last time and you promised me. And I found 10 land vehicles and 2 air vehicles. And then I played, and then we practiced some water vehicles because I didn't know them. And then we had time to play another game. So now I suggest you do a role play. You can divide into pairs. One person is the adult and one person is the student. And practice being the adult and introducing the visual schedule to the student. And use the visual schedule while you are playing a game with the dice or any other game you have available. Try it out. The different steps are listed above to help you with the script. Have fun. I hope that you will use your visual schedules with your students during different activities throughout the day to foster independence and interaction. We have provided many ready-made pictures in hopes that you will keep a copy for future use and make other visual schedules to help your students succeed. Miigwech, Kinaskubatin, Kinanakuman, Pajamaye, Masi. I hope you enjoyed this video and you will watch other videos from this series. If you have comments or questions, please email our speech and language team at speechandliteracy@mfnerc.com. You can also email us if you would like to request any materials or activities. Thank you and have a great day.